Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today, guys, we have a lot to talk about with these two knives right here, because I have two very bold statements to make about them. And when I make bold statements, you guys know I'm not always the best at making up my mind. You know, I'm usually like 90+% confident when I make bold statements. I say it with a lot of confidence. I'm not just saying it to blow smoke up your butt. I'm trying to give my most honest opinion, but I'm always going back and forth like, well, there's this and then there's this. No. The statements I'm going to make with these two, I am 100% confident on. This is the Artisan Cutlery Wizard Series, their latest Kickstarter project. And don't even start hemming and hawing and moaning about Kickstarter again, because Kickstarter's not going anywhere, guys. It's a great way for companies to make great products without having to make too much of a crazy, risky investment on something that, you know, may not sell. It's a win-win situation. You get as good a deal as possible, and the companies also do well. So I am a fan of Kickstarter. I don't want everything to be on Kickstarter, but I totally understand why it's around. So let's move past that and talk about these absolute stunners. As I said, this is the Wizard series. There is 4 different series, and there is so much to go over, and there's so many amazing things for me to say. I'm going to make my first bold statement right now, and the second one is going to come later when we talk about the action of this knife, so stick around for that. But in my opinion, this is without a doubt the best knife Artisan Cutlery has ever made. Yeah, it is. I mean, there's just so much going on with these things, from a detailed aspect to an ergonomic aspect to an action, fit, and finish. All the things we're going to talk about. But first, let's take a look at some overall specs on both of these knives right here. We have an overall length coming in at 7.64 inches, a blade length of 3.47 inches, and blade materials that are going to vary on the level of wizardry you want to get into. How crazy do you want to get? We have 4 levels here. We have the Sorcerer, this is the Sorcerer right here. The Sorcerer is going to come in S90V steel. And then you have the Mage right here, which is going to come in S90V steel. Then you have the Magna Mage, which I don't have, but it actually looks just like this, only with Magna Cut blade steel. Surprise, surprise. And then we have the Enchanter, which is actually this titanium Damascus material, but it's the whole handle plus Magna Cut steel. So those are your 4 versions, basically 2 versions with S90V and 2 versions with Magna Cut. Going into the blade style, we have a drop point style blade that has some very, very nice character to it. A beautiful drop point style blade with a very nice slicey flat grind, a handle length coming in at 4.17 inches, and a handle material that was really going to range here. It's going to be basically titanium on every handle, with the exception of the Enchanter, which is going to be all of your titanium Damascus. The other 2 versions, obviously, this is fat carbon and titanium, and then titanium Damascus and titanium. So there you go. And they're calling them titanium Damascus, which I'm pretty sure is just Damascus. Yeah, Damascus. So I don't know. I probably should have just changed it. I was just kind of, when I write my notes, I usually write down just what they're putting on the website, so I'm not, creating any false words going on. But I'm like 99% sure titanium or Damascus and titanium Damascus are the exact same thing. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. Anyway, user right or left hand tip up carry. We have some really cool things to talk about that as well. I love the way they did this left and right hand carry. We have a weight of 3.18 ounces, designed by Dustin Rhodes. And I'm going to stop right now and give Dustin Rhodes the golf clap, because this is one phenomenal design. The blade to handle ratio on this is chef's kiss good. There's so many things about this design that is just absolutely phenomenal. I am a huge fan of this design. So killer job on the design, Dustin. And prices. This is where it'll get a little expensive. Well, it'll get a little expensive to very expensive. For this model right here, right now, you can pick it up for $199 on Kickstarter. And of course, Kickstarter, so you're not going to buy it and get it sent to you directly in the mail. There is a timeline. All the timeline information is at the link below for you guys to check out. And just so you guys know, Kickstarter projects, I get nothing on. I don't get any royalty, any commission, nothing. This is simply me telling you how good this freaking knife is. Now, yes, Artisan Cutlery did send me these knives, but I get no commission. I get nothing extra. If you go buy 20 knives with my link, I get nothing extra. So what I'm saying here comes from the heart. This is truly how I feel about these knives. They are fantastic. But anyway, $199 for this version, up to $699 for the Enchanter, which of course, you know, Damascus and Magna Cut, yeah, it's gonna be like that. This version here is $299 with Damascus inlay, titanium, and the S90V blade. And of course, all the prices are below. I believe there's still a couple specials left. I think a lot of them have moved up to their regular pricing, which is the pricing I just listed you. But there may have been, I think there may have been 1 or 2 packages of the early bird discount special still going on. So definitely check that out. Let's do some size comparisons. This is going to be a longer review because I have a lot to say about this knife. I'm going to take one off the table here just for size comparison purposes. But yeah, I am literally in love with this knife. This is fantastic. There's a lot of really great things about this knife that I'm going to explain as we go along in the video. But first, size comparisons. The Kaiser Original XL, it's a great size comparison knife for this one, as well as the CGRB Pyrite. You knew that was going to come up. Got to throw that on there. And I think that right there probably gives everybody just really what they need to know. It's a good size knife. Some would consider it a large knife. I would consider it, you know, somewhere in between that medium to large range. Let's get just a couple more. We're going to keep it all button lock theme. And we're going to stick with, well, for the most part, thumb stud button lock knives. The Thornton had to make an appearance because I still, to this day, I have considered I do think the Thornton is one of the best thumb stud button lock knives you can get. It's no longer the best. I did used to think it was the best, but we'll just use that as kind of a little hint for the next bold statement I'm going to make here later in the video. Here's the CVV Cogent, Vosteed Thornton. Actually, a really good size comparison with the Thornton. I mean, the Thornton is actually like on point. So maybe that's why I love this design. I don't know. I mean, 2 very radically different designs. But just in terms of the overall height of the knife, length, blade to handle ratio, there are some very faint similarities here. Not from an aesthetic standpoint, just more of an overall measurement comparison. But yeah, I'm really kind of taken away with this design here. It's very, very good. Okay, size comparisons out of the way. Where'd it go? I put a knife over here on my table and it's like camouflaged in with all the other knives. I have to look for it for a second. Okay, let's put this one down. Let's take a look at this beauty here, the Mage. We'll look at the Mage while we're talking about the blade. The blade's fantastic. It is a beautiful drop point blade, kind of pretending to have a little swedge up here. I don't know if I would consider that a legit swedge. It's more of kind of like just a slight little ramp. But then it comes down and it does create the drop point. Very, very nice slicey blade. We're looking at 17 thousandths behind the edge on both of these. They were both very consistent, very clean, extremely good quality on the grind, and the edges, of course, they always come out of the box as razor sharp anymore. Any of the big dogs, the Artisan Cutleries, the Civivis, the Kaisers, the Vosteeds, they're all razor sharp out of the box from my experience. This one is no exception. The jimping on this, perfect amount of aggressive jimping, perfectly aggressive jimping, nice amount, perfect texture. They nailed the jimping. And I feel like they may have taken a risk on the thumb studs, went a little big on the thumb studs. I think it was perfect. I love these thumb studs. These are a home run. Very, very easy to kick this blade out. So satisfying. Big fan of the thumb studs. They went big. It paid off. The handle. The handle here is just ergonomic perfection in a very subtle way. And what I mean by that is when you hold something like the Spyderco Shaman in your hand, it's, you know, it's bubbly, it's contoured, there's a big choil up there. You just know it's going to feel really good in your hand because it looks like it's going to fit really good in your hand. But when you get a knife like this sorcerer or mage or anything, any of these wizard series knives here from Artisan Cutlery, you don't necessarily think right away, okay, this is going to feel amazing in my hand. And then you put it in your hand and you're kind of like, holy crap, this is amazing, because all the little things are done perfect. The rounding on all the edges here. This isn't just chamfering. This is like straight up rounding. I mean, this is nice. This is very nice, very, very smooth, zero hot spots. You have this nice beveling here where the middle finger wraps around, and just enough choil up there for my index finger to where it acts as a full choil. It just feels so damn good. A very nice low profile clip that we'll talk a little more about. There's one slight drawback to the low profile clip, but in terms of ergonomics, the low profile clip is a home run. It's amazing. It feels so good. It's almost like it's not even there. So very, very good job on the ergonomics of this knife. I was blown away. That was probably my most shocking experience when I was holding this knife, when I was kind of carrying it and just getting used to it, writing my notes for the review, was just how incredible the ergos are. They really are incredible. Probably the most shockingly good ergos that you wouldn't expect that I've maybe ever handled on a knife. And that's not my other bold prediction. The next bold prediction, or the next bold statement, is coming. But yeah, and then on top of the awesome ergos, you got all the details here. You've got this floating backspacer that looks amazing, that is just such a nice accent to an already very fancy, high-end looking knife. And then you have the left and right tip-up carry. I'm trying to get both of these some good camera time, because just look at that Damascus. It's hard with when the light's coming right on top of it. Granted, yes, the Damascus is kind of a fingerprint magnet, but still, I mean, you get it in the right light and it glows. All the colors, it's amazing. But anyway, back to the left or right hand tip-up carry. Both have hidden screws, and they're both on the inside, even for the filler tab. Very few times do you see hidden screws on the filler tab. Now, I'm not saying that's a first, but to be honest, I've never really paid that much of attention as to how often it happens. And I feel like it's not very often. I don't recall seeing that a lot. So that is an awesome detail again. And we're not talking about, I mean, you know, we're talking about a $200 knife and a $300 knife. So yeah, I mean, should you see it a lot? Yes. Do we see it a lot? I don't recall seeing them a lot. Maybe on a $600-700 knife, but you better see it on a $600-700 knife. And you still don't even see it on $600-700 knives sometimes. So yeah, really nice details. All of the nice details, and of course, some very, very nice inlay work. I've got no issue. I think the inlay work is great on these knives. Definitely up to par with what you're paying. These knives feel more expensive than they are, and I really like that. I know $200 is a lot for a knife. You know, this knife, if this channel, my channel, you guys, if you've been watching it, you know I try and cover all of the price ranges. But I am a little more of a budget-based channel. I enjoy knives under $100, under $150. I'll buy some expensive knives now and then, but it's not that much. So yeah, I really do enjoy the fact that these knives, while they are kind of expensive, they still feel more expensive than they are. I think that's awesome. The action. Time for bold statement number 2. This is the best button lock knife with thumb studs I've ever handled. And I couldn't, you know what? And like I said, it stings a little to say that, because I honestly, and I still feel like the Thornton is one of the better, I would say one of the top 3 knives I've ever handled when it comes to button locks with thumb studs. I love how it's always felt. But this is just a little, it's one level up. It just is. There's something about it. It is so smooth. So smooth, so satisfying. It's just different. It is just different, and it's another one of those things that factor into making it feel more expensive than it is. And it's very satisfying. I could not be any happier with the action on these knives. The front flipper is amazing. I believe you can definitely reach around it. And even on a rather big blade, I mean, we're talking a 3.47-inch blade. Reach around is pretty darn good. So just, yeah, definitely worth checking these out, guys. Overall thoughts on this? Yes, yes, yes. The Enchanter, that's a little too rich for my blood. But either one of these for sure. $199, $299, no issue there. No issue there whatsoever. They are definitely, in my opinion, feel worth that when you compare it to anything else in that price range. These are fantastic. And I'm going to say it again. The best knife Artisan Cutlery's ever made, and the best button lock with thumb studs I've ever handled. And that's a review. These things are awesome. So as long as you're not a big Kickstarter hater, get one. And even if you are a Kickstarter hater, give Kickstarter a chance and pick one up because these are fantastic. They really are. One of the best knives of the year. Obviously, a pretty easy knife of the year contender. And just an amazing offering from Artisan Cutlery. So if you guys have already pre-ordered one of these, let me know. Drop in the comments which one you got. And if you're still thinking about it, stop thinking, act. If you can afford it, of course, always make smart financial decisions. But yes, yes, yes. So darn good. Okay, I'm done rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you have a phenomenal weekend. And until the next one, I'm out.